Well guys, as I mentioned in my previous video for my 4K review for Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, today's 4K review is going to be for the newest Marvel movie on 4K, and that is the Fantastic Four: First Steps. And since I didn't review this movie back when it came out, I might as well talk about my overall thoughts on the movie before I get into the physical release and the 4K transfer. So even though I was pretty excited for this movie when they announced that Marvel Studios got the rights and they'll be doing a Fantastic Four movie, I was also really cautious about another Fantastic Four movie. And my first thought when I left the theater was, wow, an actual good Fantastic Four movie. I've seen every live-action Fantastic Four movie that's been out, including the 1990s unreleased movie, which I plan on doing not just a video for this movie, but for this release sometime soon. But the first two official attempts of a Fantastic Four movie, I never liked. Even as a kid, I never liked them, and even as an adult, I don't dislike them as much as I used to, but they're still really bad movies. They're basically feature-length sitcoms, bad feature-length sitcoms, in my opinion. And even though I appreciate their attempts of the 2015 movie, I appreciate the direction that they were going and the ambition that director Josh Trank and 20th Century Fox had with this movie, this movie's a disaster. This movie is a complete disaster. It started off fine as the movie was going along in the beginning, but once they get their powers and we jump ahead a year later, the movie just completely falls apart. Good looking 4K transfer though, I'll give 20th Century Fox that. So this movie didn't have a very high bar to clear when it comes to the quality of the movie, but I was still very happy and very surprised that after how many decades of them trying to give us a good Fantastic Four movie, they finally did it with this movie. I like the story, I like the cast, I like the fact that the 1990s Fantastic Four cast got to make a cameo, or multiple cameos in this movie. Spoiler alert, I like that movie. Even though it's bad, I acknowledge it's bad. It was the best Fantastic Four movie until this movie came out. And I like that this movie didn't rely on previous Marvel movies to carry its weight. This movie felt like its own contained movie in its own contained universe in a way. There were no connections to previous Marvel movies other than maybe a Galactus thing from Eternals, but I don't remember Eternals all that much. Besides that, this movie felt like its own thing, and that's probably because it takes place in a different multiverse era. Either way, I appreciate that aspect of it. I like the cast, surprisingly. I was a little cautious about Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards. I was afraid he was just going to be Pedro Pascal in a Marvel movie, but thankfully he wasn't like that. Vanessa Kirby I thought was great as Sue Storm. And the cast just overall, everyone did a terrific job. I loved their chemistry. I loved their performances. Everything about this movie just worked for me, which is why I think it is easily, without a doubt, the best Fantastic Four movie that we've ever gotten. However, when it came to its home release, I was a little curious, I guess you could say, because Marvel doesn't really have that great of a track record when it comes to their 4K releases. Actually, a little known fact about my movie collection, I don't own any Marvel movies on 4K from Guardians of the Galaxy 2 previous. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 I do own on 4K, and that's a really great 4K, but every movie previous to that one, I don't own on 4K because I have heard mixed to bad things about all those releases. Even the first Avengers movie, which you would think would be 4K gold to own, I've heard mixed reactions about that. And even the first Iron Man. I've heard Iron Man and the Iron Man trilogy in general look really bad on 4K. And I've heard everyone say, just keep your Blu-ray. Your Blu-ray does look better. And you know what? I watched Iron Man not too long ago on my 4K setup, and that Blu-ray still holds up really well. Same thing with the Avengers. So I only buy new Marvel stuff on 4K. I'm not interested in getting their previous efforts, but even some of their newer stuff have been, and I've heard some mixed results about. However, I have heard that Marvel has gotten a lot better with their 4K releases and their physical releases. I haven't watched Thunderbolts or Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, or any of the Disney Plus Steelbooks that they've put out. I haven't watched those yet, but I have heard that they're pretty good 4K releases compared to their previous efforts. So when I watched Fantastic Four: First Steps on 4K, I was pretty surprised on how good it looked on 4K. Does it beat Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning or Superman, for that matter, some of the better 4K releases that have come out this year from major studios? I'd say no. But I am surprised with how good this movie did really look. This movie has a 1960s setting, and while this movie was shot digitally, I think the film does have a bit of a 1960s visual charm to it still. The film was shot digitally, so there is no grain in the film, so it's a very crisp and clear, very sharp image. And it does help that this movie was shot digitally, and it was shot digitally in 4K quality, so there is a native 4K scan for this film. And I like the level of clarity and details that this movie does offer. Nothing seems like there's DNR applied to it, so nothing feels waxy or smoothed out, but you don't get that filmic experience. So if you're hoping for more of a film look for this movie, you're not going to get it. It's a very clear, very clean, pristine image. So if you don't like that digital look with no DNR, then you might not like this on 4K. The HDR color grading might win you over, though. The movie is presented with Dolby Vision and HDR10, and even with HDR10 that my TV supports, I thought the colors looked so good. It looked so vivid, so bright, so colorful. The color, I know I use this term a lot, but it's really the best term I can explain. The colors really do just pop off the screen. The blue eyes that Galactus has, the flames on Johnny when he turns into the Human Torch, all of the colors just really pop off of the screen. I really can't think of a better praise term than that. And in case you're curious, there are no IMAX sequences here. I was a little let down with that because I did see this movie in IMAX and it looked great in IMAX. I loved that taller image for this movie, but unfortunately, you're not going to get that on the physical release. It's a little bit of a disappointment, but in my opinion, it doesn't fully detract from the viewing experience of the overall picture for this film. The film does look very sharp, very clean, very clear, very immersive, and the color grading is top notch. Marvel did a good job overall with this release. Is it perfect? No. Is it going to win everybody over? No, especially purists that love that film grainy look to it. You're not going to get that here, but I think it's one of Marvel's better efforts in recent years. And even with the sound we do get offered a Dolby Atmos as well as I think a 7.1 track. And the sound is pretty good. The sound is really good. Again, I know with Marvel's efforts and Disney's efforts, they struggle with their Dolby Atmos mixing. People tend to jokingly call it the Atmouse mixing, but I think that's stupid. I really do think that's a dumb saying for it. But I didn't have any issues with the sound. The action scenes boomed from my speakers. The dialogue was nice and clear. Background sound effects from my rear speakers were pretty clear and easy to pick up. Honestly, no issues with the sound in my opinion. And I realized I just jumped right into the 4K transfer without talking about the overall packaging, so since I finished with the sound, I'll talk about that now. I really like the slipcover that they use. I think this is one of the poster arts that they use. Nice blue colors. The characters and the Fantastic Four logo are embossed, so, you know, just rubbing your fingers against it, you pick up all that embossed detail on it. Here's the back of it. We take off the slipcover and same image on the front and the back. I will give away the digital code, so stay tuned to the end of the video for that. And it's pretty simple inside 4K Blu-ray. We do get artwork on both discs, which is really nice. I know sometimes Disney just gives you a blue disc when it comes to the Blu-ray disc, but thankfully they gave us some images because that's always nice to look at. Now, I didn't get a chance to check out the special features, but according to what the back of the cover says, we get a featurette called Meet the First Family. Director and cast talk about creating the ultimate family unit, fantastic futurism. The filmmakers discuss immersing the cast and crew in a retro futuristic aesthetic. From beyond and from below, the team explores bringing complex characters from page to screen, audio commentary with director and production designer, gag reel and deleted scenes. There might be a couple more here and there, but From what the description says, if they're decently length for modern releases, they could be really cool special features to check out. I do know that the 4K disc just has an audio commentary on it, so if you're gonna want to check out the other ones, you're gonna have to pop in the Blu-ray disc for it. So overall, guys, the picture is pretty great. The sound is really good, really immersive. Sounds like we get some decent special features on it. Unfortunately, no IMAX sequences, so that might make or break your decision on it. And overall, I think this is a pretty good pickup. I think this is worth picking up on 4K. I'm pretty sure the Blu-ray is going to look just as good as the 4K, because even though Disney struggles with 4Ks from time to time, they're nailing Blu-rays. They nail Blu-rays. I haven't had any like standard Blu-ray problems with Disney. So if you don't want to spend the extra money on the 4K, then I can say for a fact that the Blu-ray is going to be 100% worth it. But when it comes to this movie, I think you should spend the extra bucks and get this on 4K. There is a Steelbook option, so you have a couple options for 4K. If you're just looking for Blu-ray, there is, of course, a standard Blu-ray and a Walmart exclusive Blu-ray, as well as a DVD option in case you don't want to get the 4K. But like I said, I think this looks pretty good on 4K, and I do think it's worth picking up. All right, let's give away the digital code, and I'll wrap up the video. So here it is. And there it goes. Enjoy, whoever gets the digital copy. So guys, that's my review for Fantastic Four First Steps on 4K Blu-ray. Just like always, let me know in the comment section what you thought of the film, what you thought of the 4K transfer, if you picked it up on 4K, or even if you just picked up the regular Blu-ray. Whatever your thoughts on everything is, let me know in the comments below. And just like always, guys, thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to like and share it. Subscribe right here if you haven't already. And until next time, guys, take care.